Excerpt from The Adventures of Tech Danger and Larry Applebaum, Discount Mercenaries for Hire, by Rich Hynes. The rusty, decrepit, dented old scow of a starship that they rented from Bort's Ship-O-Rama and Noodle Stand chugged heavily through space. Where the last ship they were on bore the majestic name of the Hathor, this one's nameplate read, "Welcome to ship BS 307-B. Please take your trash with you when you leave." Inside the small cramped bridge of the BS 307-B, Tech, Larry, and brother Caradoc sat in stony silence after a sharply unpleasant end to a conversation that brother Caradoc had tried to start concerning the color of his robes. Tech tried to maintain the silence for as long as possible, but the rented ship, which was the cheapest one Bort had on the lot, was also extremely slow. Even at light speed, it somehow managed to be slower than all the other ships traveling at light speed. The paradoxical nature of this was not lost on any of them. However, not being engineers or physicists, they were at a complete loss to explain it. It did mean, though, that they had more free time to fill than there was silence to fill it. Tech kept his hands on the controls and his eyes fixed straight out the windshield in front of him. He wondered for a moment if it could still be called a windshield on a starship, since there was no wind in space. What was it then? Just a shield? A space shield? Maybe a star shield? He liked that one the best. Pondered this for as long as he could, before Larry finally broke the silence. "Your given name is Elbert," he stated simply. Brother Caradoc wondered if he was talking to him. He couldn't imagine that he was, since his given name wasn't anything close to sounding like Elbert. He deduced that he must be talking to Tech. "What about it?" answered Tech, confirming brother Caradoc's suspicion. "Why do you tell people it's Tech Danger?" Larry asked. "Because it's Tech Danger now. I had it changed." "Why'd you do that?" "Because my parents named me Albert," he snapped. Larry pondered that for a moment before continuing. "Why Tech Danger?" "Why not? I thought it sounded cool. It's a cool mercenary name." "Well, why not something like Kid Danger then? That's pretty cool." Tech didn't respond right away. He seemed to be chewing the answer over in his head before sharing. "I tried Kid Danger for a while when I was younger. Back in school. Didn't take," he finally answered. "And why didn't it take?" Brother Caradoc asked him, wanting to be part of the conversation again. Tech took a much longer pause this time, not wanting to answer, but not being able to think of a good enough lie. He tried to pretend that he forgot about the conversation entirely and became very, very interested in the empty nothingness out the star shield in front of him. But they wouldn't let him off that easy. "Why didn't it take, Tech?" Larry repeated brother Caradoc's question. "It didn't take because high school kids suck, that's why," Tech snapped. "One of them started calling me Kid Douchebag instead, and they all started calling me that. That's what stuck." "So all throughout high school everyone called you Kid Douchebag?" Larry asked. "Yes," Tech answered, immediately regretting that he had shared that fact. "Everyone?" brother Caradoc asked him again. "Even the teachers," Tech confirmed sullenly. Larry stared at the side of Tech's head for a moment as he processed this. Tech didn't return his gaze. He remained staring silently out into the nothingness. Larry turned back to look at brother Caradoc sitting behind them. He was also silent after Tech's revelation. As soon as they made eye contact, Larry could see why. Brother Caradoc's face was cherry red from trying not to laugh. His whole body seemed to convulse beneath his robes, and he was actually pinching himself hard on the leg to keep it in. The sight of the jiggling old cleric combined with the recently shared information was too much for Larry. He lost it, breaking into a seemingly endless barrage of guffaws. Larry's laughter, in turn, was the breaking point for brother Caradoc. He knew it was an incredibly uncharitable thing to do, but he couldn't help it. The mental image of scrawny young Albert walking down the hallways of his school, most likely with the word danger written on the back of his denim jacket in blue ink, while all the kids and adults called him Kid Douchebag, was too much for him. His semi-suppressed laughter escaped from his mouth, folding his old body in half. "I swear to God," Tech muttered in warning. "Hey, douchebag, you're going to be late for class!" Larry yelled across the cabin to brother Caradoc, wiping a tear from the corner of his eye. "Hey, douchebag," brother Caradoc yelled back. "Watch where you're going!" With that, he grabbed his stomach and rolled forward out of his seat, landing with a loud thump on the cabin floor. Tech didn't answer them this time. His face just hardened into a scowl, and his hands tightened on the controls. Wait, Larry gasped, trying to catch his breath. Are we supposed to be the students or the teachers? It doesn't matter, we could be either one, Brother Caradoc answered back, and they both burst into a second round of spirited cackling. Hey, Tech yelled over their combined hilarity, his eyes starting to twitch violently. At least it taught me how to take care of myself. Growing up like that is how I learned to fight. But, Larry stammered, trying to keep control. You're a terrible fighter, douchebag. You don't fight well at all. This brought Larry and Brother Caradoc back to another round of guffawing at Tech's expense. That's it, Tech snapped. He reached over and with practiced ease flicked Larry's left ear, triggering his narcolepsy. Larry immediately fell silent and crashed to the cabin floor right next to Brother Caradoc. He was sound asleep and snoring gently, though he still had an idiotic grin plastered across his face. This stopped Brother Caradoc's laughter immediately. What did you do to him? Brother Caradoc gasped. I shut him up, Tech shot back. He'll be fine. You, on the other hand, you wouldn't do anything. I'd fly this starship right smack into the next star we pass if I felt like it, Tech snapped, his eye twitching even more violently now. You wouldn't, Brother Caradoc challenged. In a heartbeat, Tech promised. I grew up with all that douchebag crap, and I'm not going to put up with it on my own ship. But this isn't your ship, it's a rental, Larry interjected with a yawn as he sat up. Tech reached over and flicked his ear again without even glancing at him, sending him back to the floor. Better yet, Tech snorted, ignoring the interruption, when we get to the space station and I find your precious statue, instead of returning it to you and the rest of the brothers, I'll go down to the engine room and chuck the stupid thing straight out into the reactor core. That ended the conversation rather quickly. Brother Caradoc stopped laughing and climbed quietly back into his chair. Larry continued to snore blissfully on the cabin floor. I'm sorry, Brother Caradoc mumbled. Tech didn't answer him. He just resumed staring out the star shield. The hours passed in silence after the fight. Larry eventually woke up, and after 2 more attempts at harassing Tech about his old nickname, now without the support of Brother Caradoc, ended with him asleep on the floor, he finally gave up and sat quietly in his seat. The silence was eventually broken by the gentle electronic chirp of the ship's navigation system, indicating that they were approaching their destination. Brother Caradoc was the first to speak. So what's the plan? He asked. Tech and Larry exchanged awkward glances. They hadn't really thought that far ahead. They were going to come up with a plan on the way to the space station. When they finally boarded the BS 307-B and realized that Brother Caradoc would have to ride up front with them, they switched gears and tried to figure out some way of coming up with a plan in front of him without him realizing. Then the whole kid douchebag debacle started, and they had forgotten all about it. We were just going to wing it, Tech said confidently. You were just going to wing it? Brother Caradoc repeated incredulously. Sure, Tech answered. We tend to work best without a hard and fast plan. Like every job is our first, Larry added. Besides, Tech mused, how hard could taking your dinky little statue back from a bunch of girls be? Brother Caradoc didn't say a word. He simply leaned forward past Tech and touched the little information icon on the navigation screen next to their destination. The screen filled with text, and a gentle computer voice started narrating it for them. Destination, Space Station Pink Havoc, owned and operated by the Sisters of Agrona, the most dangerous gang in all of known space. The station is remarkably well armed and protected by a practically impregnable defense system. Not that they often need it, as the sisters are so notoriously bloodthirsty that no branch of any law enforcement bureau in the universe will approach them to execute any of the 4,833 warrants out for their arrest. While the space station has been attacked several times by rival criminal organizations, its perimeter has never been successfully breached. There are no specific details available about the defenses, as no one has ever survived an attack. Additionally, in order to keep the specifics secret, the sisters summarily executed the entire staff of contractors they had kidnapped and forced to install the defense system when they were finished. Then they rounded up their spouses, children, and extended families, close friends, old high school gym teachers, and a majority of their pets, and executed them as well. End entry. The computer fell silent, and the three men in the ship remained that way. They were all processing what they'd just heard. 1.5 of them were convinced that they were going to die. Well, Larry broke the silence. It was oddly detailed for a navigation system.